The last time these two arch rivals met, the ISC world title was on the line last August 17th. And on that Saturday in Surrey, British Columbia, the Hill United Chiefs beat the Gremlins 7-1 on their way to a sixth ISC title. They meet for the first time since here at Peterson Park, Mitchell, Ontario, in the final round-robin game for both teams. As you get a look at the Hill United Chiefs batting lineup, no Brad Ezekiel or Nick Shales for this game. Because of the Bear Creek Express win in that last game against JDT, no opportunity for Hill United to avoid a quarterfinal game, which will now be played at 8:30 tomorrow morning. Pablo Migliavaca from Argentina is the starter. Makes his Mitchell debut, at least for this tournament. Facing Shane Boland, who grounds it towards Jerome Remeke. And on one hop, Ochoa does well to scoop it up for out number one. Fine work by Eric Ochoa over at first to prevent Shane Boland from getting on board with a leadoff base hit. And Remeke did well to field it on the run into the dirt, and Ochoa came up with it. And here's a gentleman that made the biggest splash in that 7-1 title victory, Alan Pecker. As you get a peek at the Gremlins' defense, Alan Pecker in that title game last year hit 2 home runs and drove in 4 of the 7. Off of the ace, Jack Bezgrove. Tonight, though, the pitching matchup is not Bezgrove and Diaz. It is Migliavaca and Justin Schofield, who's rejoined the Hill United Chiefs for the first time in 5 years. And you know the product of Nova Scotia will be juiced up for that outing. It's always special when these two teams get together, regardless of the circumstance. Migliavaca, by the way, only pitched a couple of innings at last year's World Tournament. They came against the Steveston Canadians as Pecker just underneath it. But it carried quite a long ways before Javiardo Panuelos is able to move underneath it for out number 2. And here's Grand Valley, Ontario's Quentin Bruce. Bruce had a base hit earlier today in a Hill United 12-5, 5-inning setback at the hands of the Northeast Drillers. Up the middle for Bruce and out of the reach of Ladislav Malerzuk. And Bruce starting to heat up here in Mitchell. In his second year with the Chiefs. Bruce now 4 for 13. And now it's second baseman Tony Gonzalez. As Migliavaca misses just outside. Home plate umpire, the veteran Ed Otterman. Working the bases is Brian Reese. Never dull when these two powerhouses get together. We expect more of the same tonight. Once again, delighted to bring you almost all of the Hill United Chiefs action this year on Softball Premier TV. Again, great thank you to the Chiefs organization, owner Pete Hill, for making that possible. Change up squibbed off the bat of Gonzalez. Migliavaca almost threw that away, but didn't. So a hit for the Chiefs, but they strand one. Will set the Gremlins order and the Chiefs defensively in seconds.
Welcome to Mont Hill Golf and Country Club. With our beautiful 27-hole golf course open to the public, we work tirelessly to ensure your time with us is second to none. Well, here you'll be able to enjoy an incredible dining experience at our very own Big Pete's Steakhouse. Play some of the best courses in the world with our state-of-the-art golf simulators. Upgrade your gear with the top brands at our pro shop, or host a stunning wedding, event, or conference inside one of our beautiful ballrooms. Learn all this and more at monthill.ca.
Hill United Chiefs take to the field the Bear Creek Gremlins, formerly the New York Gremlins. And here is how things look defensively for the Chiefs. Quentin Bruce in left, Nick White in place of Brad Ezekiel in center tonight. In right, it's Alan Pecker around the diamond, Blake Hunter at third, Shane Boland at shortstop, Gonzalez is the second baseman, and making a start at first, Pipolo Lopez, Luciano Biondi to catch Justin Schofield. And as far as the Gremlins order, it looks like this. And like the Chiefs, lots of strength from top to bottom. The Gremlins are 2-0 so far in Mitchell. They downed the Toronto Batmen last night 7-0 in 6 innings, and then upended the Bear Creek Express 9-3 earlier today. And if I'm not mistaken, 2 5-run 6th innings in both games for the Gremlins to blow those games open. Longtime Canadian national team outfielder Matthew Waugh to lead things off. The 36-year-old from Saint-Gervais, Quebec. 2 for 3 so far here in Mitchell. That coming in the game against Bear Creek earlier today. And he had a couple of runs driven in as Schofield pours in a first pitch strike. Schofield's first appearance in Mitchell. 1-0 on the year. Pitched 4 innings last weekend, where the Hill United Chiefs were co-champions of the Jack Grafmeyer Memorial Tournament in Kimberly, Wisconsin. He gave up 1 run on 1 hit, struck out 11, and walked 3. All 4 of those innings came in an 11-1 triumph over the Midland Explorers. But he's not facing the Explorers today. Canadian national team pitcher Justin Schofield. And a big addition to this Chiefs pitching lineup in 2025. And they say that Waugh went around and he didn't like it at all. And Schofield starts well with an early strikeout on the high rise to get Matthew Waugh as Jerome Remeke steps in. Jerome did not participate due to injury at last year's ISC World Tournament in Surrey, British Columbia. A member of New Zealand's national team from Wellington. He's 1 for 7 in Mitchell with a double and 2 runs batted in. That came in their opening 7-0 victory. A 7-time All-World member at the ISC and delivers the game's second hit, first for the Bear Creek Gremlins. And now another player from New Zealand. Bananoka. He's 2 for 5. An 8-time All-World member. He was a second-teamer in Surrey. 2 for 5 in Mitchell with a run batted in. And that run batted in came earlier today in the win over the Bear Creek Express. And the Rise right now clocking in at around 77, 78. And that's the hardest pitch to clock speed-wise. And he is bringing it to begin this game. We'll say it probably 100 times before the season is over. Justin Schofield throws every pitch like it's his last. And I mean that in absolutely the most respectful way. Love watching this guy go to work. And again, in case you haven't heard the story, that's been told the last couple of years, really reinvented himself pitching-wise during COVID. He's the first to tell you that it absolutely, the work he did on his pitches day in and day out has made a huge difference. Facing Bananoka with a man on and a man out here in the bottom of the first as this rivalry continues. And it's a good one. Forget about the tournament. The event does not matter. And Schofield's Rise is hopping. And he has a couple of strikeouts, the most recent off of Bananoka. And there's 2 away for U.S. national team member Eric Ochoa, who was terrific at the ISC last year. 3 home runs, led the entire tournament with 10 runs batted in. He's 31. 3 for 6. He's homered here with 3 runs batted in. And that home run came earlier today against the Bear Creek Express. He's a tough out. Well, who isn't in this game, to be frank? So after giving up the base hit to Remeke, who broke his forearm when he was hit by a pitch, courtesy of Marco Diaz last season, and missed the last couple of months. Schofield and Ochoa. Early in this one. And Ochoa had a mighty cut at that Rise ball. Ochoa, the ASA batting champion in 2024 and home run leader. Good pitch from Schofield. Climbing the ladder is Lopez. And Schofield with a quality start. Gave up a hit. Both teams have one in Strand 1. We're through 1 here in Mitchell.
catcher, inch by inch, we'll fight to make the lives of First Nations people in this community, this province, and on this continent better. I know we have a long way to go, but I'm proud to say as long as our people have a need, Dreamcatcher will be there for them.
Third baseman Blake Hunter leads it off for the reigning ISC World Champion Hill United Chiefs. Looking for their first win in Mitchell. Regardless of the outcome, they'll be involved in a playoff game tomorrow at 8:30 against the Toronto Batmen, who still have a round-robin game to play. Hunter 3 for 10 early in the season. And 0 for 3 here in Mitchell. And misses on the Migliavaca drop ball. And Hunter going up against his old group. He was a New York Gremlin last season. Hit .234 for them with 4 home runs and 20 runs batted in. Migliavaca will once again represent Argentina at a World Cup. As that registers at 75. Remember, pitches in this sport from 46 feet. Gets on you in a hurry. Hunter does well to stay off that pitch. They ask, and the answer in this case is no. Migliavaca working to a great receiver, and Nick Mullins. Mullins will have to make a throw and does. First strikeout of the night for Migliavaca. And that brings to the plate Pipila Lopez. Five for 7, his first start here in Mitchell. And 5 for 7 on the season, an excellent changeup from number 77. Migliavaca's 2024 season included a great performance to help Argentina to a Pan American Championship last spring. Was also part of the World Cup qualifying group in Prince Albert. And he's headed back there in a couple of weeks. Lopez hit .280 in 2024 for the Chiefs, 9 doubles, triple, 5 home runs, and 22 runs batted in. And off to, as I mentioned earlier, had a great weekend in Kimberly, Wisconsin. But the competition this weekend at a very, very different level. And back-to-back strikeouts, courtesy of Migliavaca, to begin the second. And now the designated player, Kyle Ezekiel. Kyle 2 for 7 on the season with a double, and he has a couple of runs batted in. Those came last weekend in Kimberly. Has that sweeping action. Really comes across his body on that pitch when he tries to work to the outside portion of the plate. It can be difficult on that release point for a batter. As Ezekiel swings and misses on the drop ball. Kyle hit .310 last year. Was 1 for 5 at the ISC World Tournament. As Migliavacca goes upstairs this time, but out of the zone. 2-2 to Kyle Ezekiel. The brother of Bradley Ezekiel, who's not in the starting lineup for this game. On 2 hops to Cole Evans. One, two, three in the top of the second. Expected a good one. We're off to a good beginning.
Let's talk about a local one-stop shop. Live Well for Life is just that, a fitness, nutrition, and therapy facility all under one roof. Located at 3878 Wellington Street in Mitchell, Ontario, you can get so much done in just one visit. A full complement of staff on hand include chiropractic, massage, and personal training to get you back to your healthy self. Find them on the web at livewellforlifeinc.com or give
Live Well for Life, a proud sponsor of the broadcast program.
The Bear Creek Gremlins to bat in the bottom of the second. Facing Justin Schofield. Schofield came over from the Bear Creek Express in the offseason and struck out a couple of batters, yielded 1 hit in the first. And facing 26-year-old Cole Evans, and I'm only laughing a little, smirking, because this guy played in his first World Cup in 2015. He's 26. He was 16 at the time in Saskatoon. He still probably has another 14, 15 years left in him if he so chooses. And he's off to a great start, as he didn't like that call. The pitch from Schofield. He's 4 for 7. With a home run and 2 runs batted in. That home run came earlier today in the win over the Bear Creek Express. A second team all-world player in Surrey last August. This is one of those players who in many ways was just flat out born to play the sport. I would suggest is fundamentally sound, certainly defensively, as almost anyone in the game. You love to watch the game at this level. And it was evident from the get-go. And these teams had to wait a long time. This game was supposed to start at 5. They did not see the exact time we started, but it was after 7. 7:09. When you have the best scorekeeper in the business beside you, you quickly can achieve that information and give Schofield credit. He has come to work for the Chiefs. It's his 3rd strikeout as he gets Evans swinging to start the second. And a shake of the hands from Lucio Retamar. 25 years of age from Paraná in Argentina. He'll play at the World Cup in Prince Albert in a few weeks. Change up, hit hard. Gonzalez with a spectacular play. Tony Gonzalez with a defensive gem over at second, and Redemar hit it hard. And there are two down for Abelardo Panuelas from Mexicali in Mexico. He had an excellent ISC World Tournament, batted .312 for the Gremlins in Surrey. 5 for 16, a couple of doubles, and 2 runs batted in. Some fine defensive work from Gonzalez to save a hit. Have not seen a lot of the changeup early. But that's a pitch that Schofield has absolutely added to the arsenal. When he asks for time, he wants to dig out the path a little better than what he's been stepping in. A little up is the banter between catcher Luciano Biondi and our home plate umpire. Close enough to touch it from our broadcast location. And a low rise with excellent movement on it from Schofield. Late break to catch the corner. 2-2 to Abelardo Panuelas. Played for his home country in a qualifying event last March. And the drop ball is excellent. Schofield with his 4th strikeout. 2 in the books. Still looking for the game's first run.
Peligro Sports provides the essentials needed to give your team an edge on the field. Our brand is rooted in creating a unique experience tailored to the specific needs of your team to ensure your performance is at the best level to execute plays. At Peligro Sports, we rally behind our athletes and understand their fight to take their game to a dangerous level. Visit our store at 2200 Amsterdam Avenue in New York City or see us online at peligrosportsnyc.com. Thanks to Jose and Peligro Sports for their support.
The Hill United Chiefs and the now newly Bear Creek, formerly New York Gremlins, in a 0-0 game already in the top of the 3rd. Nick White off to a great start, the 21-year-old outfielder from Truro, Nova Scotia. Starting in center field tonight. Nick's 8 for 12 early in the season. Was 1 for 2 in the setback at the hands of the Northeast Drillers earlier today. Had 2 base hits. Migliavaca threw it in the dirt. And the speed of Nick White continues to cause havoc. Migliavaca did an excellent job to read it. He was quick to the ball. He read it beautifully. But then tossed it in the dirt, and not even Ochoa could come up with that. So White on base. Has already stolen 6 bases as Biondi can lay down a bunt, and now White sliding into the third, and he is safe. As the speedsters creating havoc here in the third. Absolutely a bunt base hit from Luciano Biondi. It's a close play over at third. And White able to get just under the tag of Jerome Remicky. So runners at first and third, and Jack Bezgrove up and working. Already has a 16 strikeout game to his credit. Came on in relief for 3 innings earlier today to seal the deal against the Bear Creek Express. So 2 at the corners and nobody out for the Chiefs here in the third. As Boland a big cut on the drop but missed. Boland did not have a hit earlier today, but a couple of great at-bats that led to 2 walks. On the move is Biondi. They'll throw down, but it's cut off by Mallerzuk. And a stolen base for the catcher, Biondi. Shane Boland on his way to another World Cup for Canada. Search of his first hit here in Mitchell. And of the season, didn't play last weekend in Kimberley as Migliavacca took something off. And he has his 3rd strikeout of the evening, and there's 1 away. Alan Pecker, a championship Saturday he will never forget, and neither will many others. Was 4 for 8 in those 3 playoff wins last August 17th. 4 home runs, 8 runs batted in. 2 home runs in the championship final, 7-1 triumph over the Gremlins. He'd love to give his team an advantage in this situation. From Paraná in Argentina, Alan Pecker takes the changeup out and away, and now Migliavacca wants to chat with the veteran catcher Nick Mullins. The number 1 and 2 ranked teams in the ISC rankings meeting for the first time. Pecker high to left. White will tag, you know that. And they won't try. Sacrifice fly from Alan Pecker to drive in the game's first run, and the Chiefs strike first. And you don't give up a lot of speed when it's Pecker for Biondi. And you don't say that about a lot of catchers, but you saw the speed of the young 22-year-old Biondi on that bunt. And now Quentin Bruce, who singled his first time up tonight. The sweeping curve change. As the Chiefs in the lead. And it's the second time they've been in the lead on the weekend. They're 0-2, lost 3-2 last night to JDT First Energy in a game where they trailed 3-0 early. And then fell 12-5 in 5 innings. On the ground, Bruce, but Mallerzuk Shovels for the out. The Hill United Chiefs use their speed to lead to a 1-0 advantage. Here in Mitchell.
Welcome to Monthill Golf and Country Club. With our beautiful 27-hole golf course open to the public, we work tirelessly to ensure your time with us is second to none. Well, here you'll be able to enjoy an incredible dining experience at our very own Big Pete's Steakhouse. Play some of the best courses in the world with our state-of-the-art golf simulators. Upgrade your gear with the top brands at our pro shop, or host a stunning wedding, event, or conference inside one of our beautiful ballrooms. Learn all this and more at monthill.ca. We can't wait to see you.
The Hill United Chiefs provide starter Justin Schofield with a 1-0 lead as the Gremlins set to bat here in Mitchell. Yes, the home of NHL Hall of Famer Howie Morenz. That was many years ago. Not even I am old enough to remember the work of Howie Morenz. And I did not know before seeing that sign that he hailed from Mitchell. Great softball community. Beyond in Mallerzook, some kind of Spanish conversation about attire. To ask Luciano maybe about what that was about, but not even he's close enough to have been able to hear that conversation. Glad to have you with us, no matter where you're looking on. This great matchup. Mallerzook, 2 for 3 earlier today against the Bear Creek Express, and make it 3 for 4. Hands back on the changeup and ripped it right up the middle. 4-time All-World player at the ISC World Tournament, a first-teamer last year. Hit 400 in Surrey, British Columbia. And now it's catcher Nick Mullins, who will once again represent the United States at the World Cup. Looked like he was going to bunt, pulled back for a strike. Mullins was 4 for 9, an all-world performance at the ISC. Looks down at his head coach, who goes through the series of signs. Five-team all-world catcher, and has played for his country in the last 4 consecutive World Cups. Strike on the outside corner. On a beautiful Saturday night. Little breeze. Temperature probably in that 20 range, I would think, 21, 22. Look at me, now I'm playing meteorologist. Can't even say it, let alone play it. I know it's nice. Two and 2 to Nick Mullins, who's 1 for 3 here in Mitchell this weekend. Had an RBI base hit in their opening game triumph over the Toronto Batmen. 22. Gets through Biondi, and it allows Mallerzook to move up 60. And Schofield looks to settle in And Nick Mullins wiping something out of his left eye. Appears to be all right. Time called by Ed Otterman. Up in the air, Schofield. High throw, but helps to have a tall first baseman in that case. Pays some dividends. And there are one out in the inning. And Malerzuk was able to make his way to third. And back to the top of the order in the always dangerous Matthew Waugh. Infield playing in, even early in the game. Waugh struck out, looking in the bottom of the first. The Gremlins with 2 big innings on their way to 2 straight wins. Couple of 5 spots late in games against the Batman and the Bear Creek Express. One of the great things when these two teams play, every at-bat seems to have great importance. And you couldn't necessarily say that about a lot of other games that have been played this weekend. The hitters have definitely owned the weekend to this point for the most part. And these teams are arguably the 2 best hitting lineups in the business. Although for the Chiefs tonight, opting not to play Brad Ezekiel or Nick Shales. Lenny Villavazzo not available. He was injured. Hurt a hand sliding to second in the game earlier today against the Northeast Drillers. Hopefully the Hill United Chiefs infielder will be all right, but not available the rest of today. Schofield delivers a strike to Waugh. Hit .529 did Matthew at last year's ISC World Tournament. Has always performed well for his country. 7 for 17 in Prince Albert at a World Cup qualifying event last July. And a little extra giddy up that time from Schofield. Thought he was coming right through the screen. And a full count to Waugh, who still gets from first or home to first in a hurry as well. Change up. They'll come home and get the out. Great throw by Gonzalez to get Malerzuk, who tried to slide to the back corner of the plate. And as you've had a couple of peaks, it was close. Biondi applied the tag on a quality throw from Gonzalez to cut down Malerzuk trying to score. And there are 2 down for Remicky, who had a base hit his first time tonight. Remicky played in Kimberly, Wisconsin last weekend, but not for the Gremlins. He participated for the Bar Buzz. It's interesting that players will play for other teams at times during the course of a season. So Schofield throwing well, and he's had a couple of quality defensive efforts in behind him, which against a lineup like this you always require. In a 1-0 Hill United lead. The Gremlins, with a win, would capture top spot in Pool B with a perfect 3-0 record. And Schofield pours home strike 3 to get Remicky. Justin Schofield has 5 strikeouts to his credit. And it remains 1-0 for the Chiefs after 3.
This business was opened in 1965 by my father, Ned Medios. Could have walked in here 25, 30 years ago and seen just about the same thing. The process of making this suit takes about 6 weeks. It goes through about 12 or 13 hands as it's moved along the line. It's an old-time place. Making stuff from scratch here in the city at a reasonable cost. It's a very personal type of business.
Tony Gonzalez, who made not 1 but 2 strong defensive plays, one in the previous half inning to throw out Ladislaw Malarczuk, leads things off. Malarczuk trying to score from third, but nailed at home plate. Gonzalez grounded back to pitcher Pablo Migliavacca's first time up. And the sweeping curve change swung on and missed. No Bruno Matroni in the lineup either for the Hill United Chiefs. He was fabulous. 3 for 3. With a home run, a triple, a single, and 4 runs batted in. So with Ezekiel, Shales, and Matroni on the bench, head coach Jeff Ellsworth has some great options. Top of the 4th. It's been a good one. 1-0 Hill United in front. Down and in. Migliavacca, so far in the game, has given up 2 hits. Big cut and a miss on the drop ball from Migliavacca, and there is one away. Strikeout number 4 in the game for the Argentine national teamer. Blake Hunter steps into the batter's box. Chatted with him in the last couple of days. Really happy to be part of the Chiefs group. And the Chiefs very happy to have him. Great versatile player. And when this guy gets hot, he can go on some great stretches. We saw one of those to open a World Cup qualifying event last July for Canada in Prince Albert. Trying to get on track here in Mitchell. He's 0 for 3 in the event. Only had 2 official at-bats at the ISC World Tournament. And the sweeping change is down and out of the zone that time. 3-1 to Hunter, who has a hitter's count. See if he can guess right here. Didn't have to guess. Takes ball 4. And the Chiefs have a runner on for first baseman Pipolo Lopez from Tijuana in Mexico. Struck out versus Migliavaca his first time tonight. Hit .286 at last year's ISC World Tournament. Off the end of the bat, and it might be 2, and in fact it is. Malerzuk in a perfect spot. 4 unassisted to 3 to end inning number 4. It remains 1-0 Hill United.
Welcome to Mont Hill Golf and Country Club. With our beautiful 27-hole golf course open to the public, we work tirelessly to ensure your time with us is second to none. Well, here you'll be able to enjoy an incredible dining experience at our very own Big Pete's Steakhouse. Play some of the best courses in the world with our state-of-the-art golf simulators. Upgrade your gear with the top brands at our pro shop, or host a stunning wedding, event, or conference inside one of our beautiful ballrooms. Learn all this and more at monthill.ca. We can't wait to see you soon.
Where hitters have dominated. Tonight, both pitchers performing admirably. 3 hits in the game, 2 for the Chiefs, 1 for the newly owned Bear Creek Gremlins under the ownership of Scott Cornelius. Three, 4, and 5 hitters due up. Benoka, Eric Ochoa, and shortstop Cole Evans. Auckland, New Zealand's Ben Anoka struck out versus Schofield, who has 5 of those in the game. Working on second time through the order. The drop ball is down for a ball. And Schofield falls behind to Anoka. Ben's about to appear in his 5th straight World Cup for New Zealand. His first one came in Saskatoon in 2015. New Zealand had a 5-0 lead in the championship final before Steve Mullally had one of the greatest days in Canadian sport history. 3 home runs, 7 runs batted in a come-from-behind 10-5 victory. In front of 7,000 or 8,000 at Bob Van Impe Stadium in Saskatoon. I picked a great time to miss my first major event in my hometown. Not that I'm regretful about it. No, I am. Schofield pours the drop ball in for a strike. Anoka was 4 for 12 in Prince Albert, helping make sure New Zealand would qualify for the World Cup. Their last World Cup was a home World Cup, and it didn't go well. An 8th place finish at home. In this sport, maybe not quite what it once was nationally in New Zealand, but it's still very, very important to the people in that nation. And it did not go over well. So a change of softball. And Schofield and Anoka back to work to begin the bottom of the 4th in a 1-0 Chiefs advantage. And this one is just going to make its way out of play. First meeting of these two teams since they collided for the ISC World title in Surrey back on August the 17th. The Chiefs needed to win 3 on that final Saturday. Beat Bear Creek, down the Northeast Drillers, and then upended the Gremlins 7-1 in the title game. And Schofield again reaches back, 77 on our pitch clock, on the rise for strikeout number 6. "31-year-old Eric Ochoa, Imperial, California, Yuma, Arizona, a couple of places that have been listed as his home. And I don't care where this guy is from. He can change a game in one swing and does it regularly. 10 runs batted in to lead everybody at the ISC World Tournament. 3 home runs. Marco Diaz is up and throwing for the Chiefs. And Schofield so far has given his group a quality outing. And he will be part of Canada's pitching staff in Prince Albert. Along with the likes of Ty Sebastian, Sean Cleary, and Devin McCullough. And apparently left-hander Joe Todd, who is hoping to opt in if there's an injury. I absolutely love the nicest man in softball. He's not going to make that cut. No. word from somebody close and very important that maybe not even on the provisional roster, which is a line that I am going to keep and remember for a long time. Schofield against Ochoa. On the ground, not even Gonzalez can come up with that. Well hit, and Ochoa with his 4th hit of the weekend. He's now 4 for 8. Just the 2nd hit of the game for the Gremlins. And here comes a speedster. Tani Mumu. And he's in the Nick White category when it comes to speed. I'd love to watch those two guys in a race. So Ochoa gets his job done. And now it's Cole Evans. He struck out against Schofield back in the 2nd. He's 4 for 8. Was 3 for 3 in their opening game victory last night over the Toronto Batmen. And the Schofield grunt is in fine working order. He is bringing it on this Saturday. And gets ahead of Evans. One on, one away in the bottom of the 4th. As the rivalry continues tonight in Mitchell. And this one is hit hard, deep, and Nick White runs out of room, and Cole Evans has his 2nd home run of the weekend. And the Gremlins lead for the first time. It's 2-1. White tracked it, and it's a long way to center at this ballpark. 270. This one isn't straight away and almost takes a bite out of the softball premier camera. Where's Juan Zara again to help fix it if it goes down? Still one of the greatest things I've ever seen from an athlete in competitive sports. At the Simcoe tournament last year, raining on the Sunday, member of the Northeast Drillers, Argentina's national team catcher, Luciano of Softball Premier TV, looks across. Zara's sitting in the stands, says, "Hey, can you help me out?" Out goes Zara to wipe off the camera in center field. Never seen anything like it. That's not happening tonight in Edmonton in Game 4 or 5 of the Stanley Cup Final. I guarantee you that. Lucio Redemar, who had a hit taken away on a fine fielding effort by Gonzalez, back in the 2nd. Cole Evans has hit a 2-run homer to supply the now Bear Creek Gremlins with a 2-1 advantage. First blemish, really, of the game for Justin Schofield. Evans' 2nd home run, 5th hit of the weekend. The 25-year-old Retamar, 2 for 4, was a 400 hitter at the ISC World Tournament. Played prior to last season in 2023 for the JB Bombers, who, with a lot of their international players unable to compete this year, just not easy for players. They have did have a large Venezuelan contingent to get in to the United States. And give Schofield a lot of credit. He came right back with a great drop to get Redemar. 7 strikeout and out number 2. Penuelas, the batter. Abiardo tries to lay down a 2-out bunt. Fouls it back as Diaz continues to warm. Marco had a difficult morning affair against the Northeast Drillers. You don't see the 23-year-old star have many outings like that one. We could have had a lot of fun in this game with all the different languages and accents, and there's a lot of countries and continents represented in this game. And a lot of world-class players. Nothing but, really, on both sides. Change up. And Penuelas does well to foul that off, as he has represented his home country of Mexico internationally. Did so in a World Cup qualifier last March in Mexico, where I'm not sure this sport has ever been played in much hotter conditions. It was astounding the weather they played in that event. Up the middle, and Penuelas has a base hit. Quality at bat for the right fielder, who fights it off up the middle. (2-1), the Gremlins have gone ahead. So far, it's been as advertised, the type of matchup you would be hoping for. On the move, strong throw from Luciano Biondi to get Penuelas attempting to steal. But Cole Evans has supplied the Gremlins with a 2-1 lead, courtesy of a 2-run homer. We'll have a pitching change when we return for the Gremlins.
This business was opened in 1965 by my father, Ned Mattios. Could have walked in here 25, 30 years ago and seen just about the same thing. The process of making this suit takes about 6 weeks. It goes through about 12 or 13 hands as it's moved along the line. It's an old-time place. Making stuff from scratch here in the city at a reasonable cost. It's a very personal type of business.
Pablo Migliavacca, after 4 innings, gives way to 21-year-old Jack Bezgrove from New South Wales. 1-0 in the tournament. Pitched 9 innings, given up no runs, 4 hits, struck out 20. Had 16 strikeouts in a 6-inning victory last night over the Toronto Batmen. Came in relief of Jakub Osichka earlier today and did not allow a run, but did give up 3 hits against the Bear Creek Express. At 21, Jack Bezgrove does not have a lot of unhappy softball memories. He's won everything there is to win in the sport, but he didn't enjoy last year's championship final very much. He gave up 7 runs to the Chiefs on 7 hits. In many ways, you could say it was the first truly big loss of his young career. A World Cup men's champion, a U23 World Cup champion. Staggering what he's accomplished so far. And he'll be front and center for Australia in a few weeks in Prince Albert. Facing Kyle Ezekiel. Kyle grounded out to short against Migliavaca, who leaves the game giving up 1 run in his 4 innings of work on 3 hits, struck out 4, and walked 1. As Bezgrove tries to slam the door shut with a 2-1 lead. A 2-run Cole Evans homer in the bottom of the 4th, the difference. And the Bezgrove rise, a little too much for Kyle Ezekiel. In the case of Bezgrove, yes, he has fine velocity, but the spin on the ball and the movement is really what sets him apart from almost everyone. A changeup, and Nick White anticipated that pretty well. As Bezgrove looks in at his catcher, Nick Mullins. Almost like, I'm not sure we want to try that again. Nick White reached on an error to the pitcher, stole a base. So much in this sport in pitching is about late explosive movement, late movement period, changing speeds. Steady diet of the rise ball so far. There's Nick White off to a great start this season. In search of a hit off Bezgrove. This won't be easy. And just out at first. Every ball in play gives this guy a chance. And just another example is Ochoa barely beats him to the bag. And this will show you how tight it was. But the right call by about half a step. Great camera work. And there are 2 away. And Biondi, no slouch, as we saw on his bunt base hit. And he had a quality rip at the Bezgrove pitch. He looked to be right on it. Two out in the top of the 5th, and what's been a gem. That was pretty good. So a couple of strikes to Luciano Biondi. Three up, three down. Bezgrove has a couple of strikeouts in his first inning of work.
Welcome to Mont Hill Golf and Country Club. With our beautiful 27-hole golf course open to the public, we work tirelessly to ensure your time with us is second to none. Well, here you'll be able to enjoy an incredible dining experience at our very own Big Pete's Steakhouse. Play some of the best courses in the world with our state-of-the-art golf simulators. Upgrade your gear with the top brands at our pro shop, or host a stunning wedding, event, or conference inside one of our beautiful ballrooms. Learn all this and more at monthill.ca. We can't wait to see you soon.
Two-one, a Cole Evans two-run shot in the fourth is the now Bear Creek Gremlins, not the New York Gremlins anymore. Bat against Justin Schofield, who has had himself a quality outing so far. Just the one pitch to Evans. The difference in the game, he's thrown 67 pitches, has 46 strikes, and 7 strikeouts, has not walked anyone in the game. Facing Ladislav Malerzuk. And he's been around for quite some time. Remember him playing in the Pan Am Games in Ajax, Ontario back in 2015. And lots of good softball left for Malerzuk. I think he was 16 or 17, maybe 18 then. He's 30 now, so math would tell me he was 20. But had already at 20 found his way on the national team. Took something off, but missed outside. Malerzuk, a base hit, his only time up. Now 3 for 4 here in Mitchell. Feels like a really important defensive half inning for the reigning ISC World Champion Chiefs. And Schofield pours in a strike on the inner portion to get Malerzuk with strikeout number 8. Nick Mullins grounded back to Justin Schofield, his first time up. The 39-year-old catcher. And had a mighty hack at that pitch. High rise, missing up to even the count. Rise in the inner part. And that is rising and just underneath your hands. That's a tough spot for a batter. See what Schofield comes with here. Schofield never cheats you in terms of the effort that he puts into every single offering. He leaves it all out there every night. Chop but well foul. Two Gremlins coaches bantering at one another across the field. Greg Leather over at third base. Quality confrontation, and Schofield won it again. Terrific rise to get Mullins. And on a weekend for the Chiefs where their pitching has not been what they had hoped for in the first couple of games, you can't argue with this outing. As he faces his Canadian national team teammate Matthew Waugh, who squared but takes a ball. Waugh 0 for 2 in the game, reached in the third on a fielder's choice. Two balls to Matthew Waugh. Saint-Gervais, Quebec is his home. He'll turn 37 on the 21st of December. Matthew didn't like that call. The 7-time All-World player at the ISC World Tournament. About to play in yet another World Cup for his country. Won a gold medal in 2015, played in 17, 19, 22, and about to play in 25. Change up off the bag and fair. Waugh with a big turn, but holds up at first. As he pulls it down the line, fair off the bag. But Alan Pecker, with his speed, able to track it and keep Matthew Waugh at first base. Digging in is third baseman Jerome Remicke. He has a hit tonight. Struck out his last time up. 2 for 9 so far in the tournament here in Mitchell. Hit it hard, but right at Pipolo Lopez. So a hit and one left. To the 6th and a 2-1 Bear Creek Gremlins lead.
This business was opened in 1965 by my father, Ned Medios. Could have walked in here 25, 30 years ago and seen just about the same thing. The process of making this suit takes about 6 weeks. It goes through about 12 or 13 hands as it's moved along the line. It's an old-time place. Making stuff from scratch here in the city at a reasonable cost. It's a very personal type of business.
Top of the Hill United Chiefs order to face Jack Bezgrove, trailing 2-1. Very well played game by these two terrific teams. It's what you would expect, and still work to be done on both sides. Bezgrove with a 1-2-3 inning in the fifth after replacing the starter, Migliavaca, who went 4. As Shane Bolin takes a peek back. Shane is grounded out and struck out. First at bat versus Bezgrove of this season. A little grab of Gorilla Gold. Boland in search of his first hit of the 2025 season. Had some stuff to attend to at home last weekend. Did not participate in the opening weekend for the Chiefs, the Jack Grafmeyer Memorial Tournament in Kimberley. What a beautiful place and ballpark that Sunset Park is in Kimberley. Up the middle, and Shane Boland delivers a base hit, his first of 2025. And exactly what the doctor ordered for Hill United. A lead-off single for the longtime Canadian national team shortstop. A bunt attempt, but it's popped in the air, and scrambling back is Boland. So popped in the air on the sacrifice bunt attempt. And Quentin Bruce, who has singled in the game and then grounded out to second. His first facing of Bezgrove. Change up, stayed with it, and punched it through the hole. Boland on his way to third. And the Chiefs in business in the sixth with runners at the corners. Is Boland with a hit. And here comes Greg Leather out to chat with his group and how they might handle any type of running play. The Chiefs with a tying run 60 feet away in the sixth for Tony Gonzalez. Gonzalez right at Remicky. Boland did well to scramble back, and the rocket across the diamond by Remicky. For out number 2. And a pinch hitter comes to the plate in Nick Shales. So Shales homered last night against JDT First Energy, was 0 for 3 in the game against the Northeast Drillers. On the year, Nick Shales is 12 for 18. Has doubled, hit 5 home runs, and 13 runs batted in. And he is in a high leverage situation here against his fellow countrymen in Bezgrove. 2 out in the 6th, and Shales not cheated on that rip. These teams generally incapable of playing anything but an entertaining game. Shales against Bezgrove. And did he check his swing? He did. Bolin remains at third. Bruce has made his way to second. A 2-1 Bear Creek Gremlins advantage. First meeting of the season. Won't be the last. Bezgrove really wanted that. You can feel it everywhere in the park. Bezgrove leaning back and misses down as he asks for confirmation. The 10-time All-World player at the ISC tournament, Nick Shales. And fights off the rise, up and in. Full count to Shales. Continues. Game on the line. Potentially. Got a piece, but not enough. The Chiefs get to Bezgrove for a couple of hits, but they strand a pair and continue to trail it 2-1 here in Mitchell.
Welcome to Mont Hill Golf and Country Club. With our beautiful 27-hole golf course open to the public, we work tirelessly to ensure your time with us is second to none. Well, here you'll be able to enjoy an incredible dining experience at our very own Big Pete's Steakhouse. Play some of the best courses in the world with our state-of-the-art golf simulators. Upgrade your gear with the top brands at our pro shop, or host a stunning wedding, event, or conference inside one of our beautiful ballrooms. Learn all this and more at monthill.ca. We can't wait to see you soon.
Peligro Sports provides the essentials needed to give your team an edge on the field. Our brand is rooted in creating a unique experience tailored to the specific needs of your team to ensure your performance is at the best level to execute plays. At Peligro Sports, we rally behind our athletes and understand their fight to take their game to a dangerous level. Visit our store at 2200 Amsterdam Avenue in New York City or see us online at peligrosportsnyc.com.
Two to one, the Bear Creek Gremlins lead it. It's Hill United with a great chance to draw even. Had the tying run at third base with less than 2 out. With Jack Bezgrove, a ground out and then a strikeout of the pinch hitter, Nick Shales. Schofield with the 57th strike of the night that he has delivered, as Ben Anoka leads it off. And Anoka has struck out twice against Schofield in the game. And all you have to do is take a look at the faces to know the result. It really is something. Schofield working from in front. Wants to desperately give his team another go at it. Down only a run, heading to the 7th. This has been a wonderful display. Game of the weekend. Thought both teams might potentially be unbeaten going in. The Gremlins are 2-0. Hill United playing by far their best game of the weekend. They're 0-2. But a lot can happen on one day in the playoffs. The Chiefs will have a morning quarterfinal date with the Toronto Batmen. We'll have to double check that, but Blair Setford and company will certainly set the playoff situation straight. They moved the quarterfinal games from tonight with games running behind by a couple hours. Playoffs were supposed to start in the 9 o'clock slot tonight. Instead, moved to tomorrow as Anoka just able to stay alive off the glove of Biondi. And without any math, the Gremlins, with a win, would guarantee themselves a berth in the semifinals and would finish at 3-0 and win Group B. And Schofield's location is excellent. He has his 10th strikeout of the night. There's one away in the bottom of the 6th for Eric Ochoa, who has one of the 6 hits in the game for the Gremlins. Singled and scored on the Cole Evans 2-run home run in the 4th. That's the difference in the game. One team with 6 hits, the Chiefs have 5. How filthy is that softball? There's not a Tide Pod in the world to fix that. Between the Gorilla Gold and the... You can barely tell it's yellow anymore. Schofield gets his sign and delivers. Still one round robin game to come following this one. We'll match JDT First Energy against the Toronto Batmen. And they will play on a different diamond. And maybe they're underway already. Thank you. So this will do it at this diamond tonight. You could play another if they're all going to be like this. And Ochoa draws a one-out walk. And head coach Jeff Ellsworth, also a member of the Canadian national team coaching staff, walks out to have a chat with his right-hander, who's given him a quality outing. And they're going to make a change. Great outing for number 41, who gives way to Marco Diaz. We'll be back to set that record after this. Final line on Justin Schofield, 5 1/3, gave up 2 runs, 6 hits, struck out 10, and the only walk that he issued all night was his last batter, walking Ochoa. And in comes 23-year-old Marco Diaz, who makes his 3rd appearance of the weekend in Mitchell. A solid 6 innings last night, even though it resulted in a 3-2 loss at the hands of JDT First Energy. But his 1 1/3 against the Northeast Drillers earlier today, a game that began at 8:30 a.m., gave up 5 runs on 4 hits, struck out 1 and walked 3. It was not what we've become accustomed from Marco Diaz, who hits 84 on the gun with his first pitch to Cole Evans, who's the difference maker in the game. He had a 2-run homer off Schofield his last time up. So a couple of strikes. Evans fouls that off. In the title game, last August 17th, Marco Diaz was the winner against this Gremlins group. And in this occasion, just would love to help his team get to the 7th, trailing by only a run. In that title game, gave up 1 run on 4 hits, struck out 9, walked 2 in a quality 7-inning victory as the Chiefs captured the World Crown. The drop down. will not be surprised. Brad Ezekiel was already in the on-deck circle. Bruno Matroni would still be available to come up and hit as well. Evans hit it hard, past Gonzalez. And Evans will take the bobble and move up. And now Ochoa is going to make it home. Cole Evans, who has had a marvelous weekend, goes the other way, past Gonzalez, juggled by Alan Pecker. The throw got away, almost went into the Gremlins dugout, and by the time Diaz was able to collect it, it was 3-1. As Retamar, the batter. So a huge insurance run in the sixth for the Gremlins. And look out, Coach at third. Cole Evans is having some weekend. Six for 10, 2 home runs, 4 runs batted in. And Diaz in need, certainly, of a strikeout or maybe a pop-up. As the Chiefs can ill afford to give up another here. They're going to check it, and maybe they don't even have to. Strike 3. The first for Diaz in relief. Abiardo Penuelas fouls at Diaz, offering back. Penuelas. Had one of the 6 hits off Justin Schofield. High bouncer to Shales, has to hurry and does. The Gremlins add an important insurance run. They'll look to close it in about a minute. They lead at 3-1. Top of the 7th. It's a 3-1 Bear Creek Gremlins lead. They added 1 in the bottom of the 6th. And Brad Ezekiel will come in to hit in place of Pipolo Lopez to start the 7th. And to no one's surprise, Matroni on deck. And Bruno had a terrific game against the Drillers with 3 hits, a home run, a triple, and 4 runs batted in earlier today. Base hit by Ezekiel. Gets away from Anoka, and Ezekiel will move up 60 feet. Almost every game I've ever watched Brad Ezekiel play in his career with my own 2 eyes, he gets a hit. He continues that streak tonight in his at-bat, and the tying run at home plate now in the likes of Bruno Matroni. And he went deep to straightaway center in the game against the Drillers this morning. Matroni up to 7 for 14 on the season. And an impressive 4 out of 5 with a home run and 4 runs batted in, and did not miss that by a bunch. Been an excellent game and will be the last one of the day on this diamond. Playoff set for 8:30 in the quarters. The Hill United Chiefs will be in one of those. That pitch got away from Bezgrove, but Mullins able to knock it down. As Matroni gets a laugh out of Mullins. And now stares at Bezgrove. That's the pitch that has frustrated Bezgrove on a couple of occasions. He's wanted that. Working outside to right-handed hitters. Nobody out. 3-1, top of the 7th. And Matroni swings and misses on the high rise. And the count is full. Ball 4. And don't go away. As Matroni walks. And they'll bring in Kyle Ezekiel to run. So he re-enters the game to do that. Matroni was hitting in his spot in the lineup. Now Nick White is the batter. And certainly would not be the least bit surprised if potentially he's asked to lay down a bunt here. With nobody out, runners at first and second in the 7th. And he's going to square, and he takes a ball from Bezgrove. Nick White, just 21 years of age. Misses on that attempt. Eight for 14 early in this 2025 season overall. And again, unable to get it down. That part of the game in this day and age can be a bit of a lost art. Players aren't asked to do it very often anymore. And a good swing at 2 strikes for Nick White. Would love to, if nothing else, put it in play and use his speed to again put pressure on the defense, which he's done here all weekend. And Mullins does very well to keep that from finding its way to the backstop. Excellent work by the catcher. A 2-2 count. And White goes down swinging. And Bezgrove has his 4th. He took over in the 5th inning from the starter Pablo Migliavaca. Remember, in the 6th, the Chiefs stranded a couple of runners. Bruce with a good bunt, and Remeke fields it beautifully. And a strong throw across the diamond to get Bruce. Now that had to be Biondi. Pardon me. So Shane Boland had a hit off Bezgrove in the 6th. Can he do it again to potentially tie the game? As the Chiefs down to their last out. Third and second again for the Chiefs. With a couple out. Bezgrove got it done in the 6th. Willie in the 7th. He's 1 strike away. And Boland stays alive. The veteran hitter against the young star pitcher who won't turn 22 until the 17th of December. Stayed off the rise, and that's not easy to do. These two teams have put on another great show in their first meeting of 2025. Does it have another chapter or two? Strike 3. And the Bear Creek Gremlins win it 3-1. Cole Evans, a key 2-run homer in the fourth. And the Chiefs had Bezgrove in a difficult spot in both the 6th and the 7th, but were unable to cash in. Terrific ending to day 2, at least at this diamond. And diamond number 4, the final round robin game in this division, is going on between the Toronto Batmen and JDT First Energy. So the Gremlins 3-0, they finish atop the group. Chiefs at 0-3, but definitely a game for them to build on. Fabulous outing for Justin Schofield, and by my count, look to social media for confirmation a little later, if you will. Believe it will be at 8:30. Hill United taking on the Toronto Batmen in one quarter, which should leave Bear Creek in a semifinal along with the Gremlins, talking about Express and Gremlins, and the Northeast Drillers and JDT First Energy in another quarter. Well, that'll do it for Saturday. The best potentially on its way tomorrow. My name is Peter Lubardius. Good night, everyone, from Mitchell.
For the latest in softball innovation, the website where you can experience the best tournaments in the Americas.
Live games, news, tournaments, and much, much more.
The best quality live softball, on demand so you can watch when you want. Become a Premier member now. SoftballPremierTV.com.
Live it on Softball Premier.